Hi everyone. So I am super late with this video. It's supposed to go up almost an entire week ago today. I had seen the movie on Tuesday and should have filmed my video that day because I had the whole day off. But I thought, nah, I can wait until like Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, shoot the video quickly before I go to work. And unfortunately, on Wednesday, Luke, or fortunately, but unfortunately for me, Luke Ryan put up his marathon video, which is 4 hours long, and so when that kind of thing happens each year, I drop pretty much everything and devote all my free time to watching that. It does take a while to get through the whole thing, but it was worth it. Unfortunately, this means that after that, I just basically you know, had other stuff to do, unfortunately, and one thing led to another, so here I am delivering my video on the 2001 DAC pick. Late. Real late. However, the good news is that I'm not delaying the next video. Normally all these videos come out on Friday, which is tomorrow, which means that tomorrow we'll have a new video up. All I have to do is watch the movie today. That will, of course, be The Bourne Identity. But this week, of course, it's 2001, or this episode, 2001. Tom Breihan, who writes a essay series for avclub.com called History of Violence, is picking what he considers the most important action movie of each year, starting with Steve McQueen in Bullitt in 1968 and moving forward to the present. And for 2001, he of course picked The Fast and the Furious, which was a movie that was basically about street racing hijackers that turned into this gargantuan franchise that had its 8th movie come out just this last spring. In April. When I saw the trailer for this movie, I thought it would, be successful. It looked like a fun ride. It's a complete ripoff of Point Break, a movie which came out 10 years earlier, starring Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves. Catherine Bigelow, the director of Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30, she made that one when she's still in sort of exploitation film phase. That movie was about an FBI agent, played by Keanu Reeves, who is asked by his superiors to go undercover as a surfer to weed out a gang of bank robbers who they theorize are actually surfers in their spare time. And so he meets Bodie, he meets Patrick Swayze's character and his gang of friends, and ingratiates himself with them and hooks up with the girl in the group played by Lori Petty. And tries to figure out whether or not these guys are the criminals that the feds are looking for. And The Fast and the Furious follows pretty much this exact same pattern, except, of course, it's street racing as the sport of choice instead of surfing. Paul Walker is the Fed, or maybe he's a cop. I forget exactly whether he's a Fed or a cop, but he's working with the other agency, whatever that happens to be. Ted Levine is his boss, he is trying to get in good with Vin Diesel and his group of buddies, who are auto mechanics as well as street racers. Jordana Brewster, in this case, is the girl that he's interested in, who happens to be Vin Diesel's sister. And then, of course, you have Michelle Rodriguez, who plays Letty, Vin Diesel's girlfriend. And this is sort of the core 4 characters that we follow through most of the films, at least until the 7th film, Furious 7, which came out about 2 years ago. And now we have the 8th film, in which the only 2 people left from this original group are Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez. It's been interesting, kind of. I wasn't really looking forward to seeing this movie. I find it kind of boring, actually. It's got some good action beats in it, but for the most part, I just find it a little bit difficult to care about the characters. But it's been interesting seeing them change and grow and evolve. And the way sort of Vin Diesel's character, Dominic Toretto, keeps talking about how important the people are that are closest to him, his makeshift family. His sister, of course, but obviously also the people that are closest in his circuit. His girlfriend, who he's now married to, Letty and Dom are now married. And in the beginning, it wasn't like that as much. He had his tight group of friends, but his whole sort of speech, his monologue about how I live my life a quarter mile at a time, is that him talking about how he's sort of puts all of his obligations, all his other problems out of his mind. And that's changed for him. So that character's evolved, grown a little bit. he sort of like became the Dom that he is now in Fast 5, which is arguably the most well-liked in the series. But the first film itself, he's you know, just this guy who's running a shop, and he's doing these hijackings along with his gang of friends. They're taking down trucks while they're driving down the highway, so they have their really fast cars, and they use their harpoon guns and jump onto the vehicles and overtake them while they're driving. They don't bother to do it, of course, while the trucks are parked somewhere. They need to do it in motion, which is, you know, a lot more exciting. There's a really great set piece in which one of the members of his group gets caught basically on a wire and is in real danger because the driver actually has a gun and is shooting at him, trying to get him off. So that's a good set piece right there. But it's mostly racing scenes. Only towards the end does it get into the real sort of dangerous action, guys shooting at each other and things blowing up and what have you. But they start the beginning of this relationship between the cop played by Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. So they make a sort of peace at the end, kind of like the exact same way Keanu does with Patrick Swayze at the end of Point Break. They even have a bust. They even have a bust midway through the movie that's actually the wrong guy, the wrong group, just like in Point Break. So yeah, when I saw the movie, I was just like, okay, I know what's going to happen here. It's very, very obvious because they're just following, you know, the Point Break template. So yeah, I don't find it a particularly exciting movie or interesting movie. But it's interesting to go back and see who these characters were, and of course how the actors have changed. Vin Diesel's arms look kind of skinny in this movie, in the first movie. I had already seen him in Pitch Black, of course. Pitch Black came out 1 year before The Fast and the Furious, and I really liked that movie a lot, and I thought Vin Diesel was really cool. He had some really great dialogue, he had good comic timing. I thought, this guy, he's definitely going to be someone that people like and become a star. Pitch Black wasn't a huge hit or anything like that, but it did spawn another 2 movies in which he played that same character, called Riddick. But of course, and he's played Triple X, obviously. His name is Xander Cage. It's funny because when I look at the Fast and the Furious movies now, particularly 6, 7, and 8, it's like his character, Dom Toretto, is more like Xander Cage in the first Triple X movie than he is like Dominic Toretto in the first movie. So apparently he really likes being the blue-collar James Bond with all the fancy gear and the parachuting out of planes and all kinds of other crazy stuff that they do that has really nothing to do with straight racing. It's all like these insane action beats. My personal favorite Fast and Furious movie is 6. And that's, I like the set pieces in that movie, but what I really like is, through some convolutions of the plot, Letty has gotten amnesia, the Michelle Rodriguez character, and about midway through the movie, Dom meets up with her and fills her in a little bit on their history together, because they've known each other for a long time. And it's a sweet scene. It's very sweet, and I imagine the 2 actors had a great time shooting that. They seem very close. You know, the people who make these movies seem very close, and that's kind of cool. There was some tension, I guess, between Dwayne Johnson, who came in the 5th movie, and Vin Diesel. I guess they had like 0 scenes together in the 8th movie, and they sort of staged it to make it look like they were in the same room or the same location. But really, I don't think they got along. But they're supposed to have a 9th movie, and based on the poster that got released, they had this sort of announcement poster. Vin Diesel's in it, and Dwayne Johnson is in it, which is kind of weird. Maybe they've kissed and made up. I don't know. Anyway, the Fast and the Furious movie itself is okay. Nothing great. I find it a little, like I said, a little bit boring. I wasn't really super jacked to see it again. But you know, it's certainly not a bad movie. You know, it's a good passer of time, but certainly not one of my favorites. So that's all I've really got to say. Sorry, don't have anything particularly interesting to say about this particular movie, but like I said, it's not been something that has taken a lot of brain space for me. But of course, jumping into the next few movies, they're all really, really good ones. The Bourne Identity in 2002, Kill Bill Volume 1 in 2003, and The Bourne Supremacy in 2004. So that's like the next few weeks of this series, which I call the Decades of Action Challenge. And if you'd like to see any of the other videos that I've done for this series, the playlist, the link to the playlist is in the description below. Also the link to my Facebook page. If you'd like to check that out as well, I'd appreciate it. Leave a comment, of course, if you feel like it. Thanks very much for watching, and next video will be on time, promise.